Hey folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on a simple connector using some 12 gauge beadle-on wire. Big stuff. So we're going to, well actually I did a little experiment earlier and it didn't work real well, so we're going to try again. And what we're going to try and make is some earring connectors. And we'll see how they work. So let's turn down and we'll get to work on those. Now my original plan was to wrap this around like so. Well, that worked great for this piece, but when I tried to do the second piece, it didn't want to work. See how that looks wonky there? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut 6 inches, and then instead of making wrapped loops, we'll make simple loops, a smaller one at the top and a bigger one at the bottom. So let's cut our wire. I'm thinking that wire was 5 and it was a little small, so I'm thinking 6. So we'll cut 2 6-inch pieces, since these are going to be for earrings. Now there's one, and then I'm going to cut this sharp edge off of this other side here. See how it makes a really sharp edge there on the edge there? You don't want that. So let's cut that off. And then we will, and we're actually going to have to file this down some, because even though you cut that sharp edge off, it still has a bit of a sharp spot. So we want it right here. Then I'll cut this off before I put it away, this little sharp piece off. So what we want to do is, first of all, we're going to take our file and file these ends down. They're sort of sharp still. And even though they'll be tucked up against itself, still don't want any sharp pieces if you can help it. Now we're gonna, after I get these formed, we're going to hammer them down and give them, flatten them and give them some texture. And if they lose the green when we do that, that's fine, or at least some of it, that's fine, because this has got copper under it and I think it's going to be really pretty when if that comes out. Now I'm not going to these are going to will make really pretty Christmas earrings, so I'm not going to add anything particularly Christmassy to them. I'm just going to do them because they're green. So now that we've got those filed, the first thing we want to do is get the loop on the one end. So to do that, just take your largest bell making plier and just wrap it. Then once you've got it wrapped, take your regular chain nose plier and bend that up like so. So we'll do that to both. Now we're going to take our wire mandrel and we are going to, if I can get this to sit nicely, I'm going to just take our wire mandrel and we're going to wrap it around the bottom piece. Now it looks like I've got more wire than I needed. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough, and it looks like I have more than enough. So we'll just bring that to there. Take it off. Oh, that didn't wrap very well, did it? This side is a little bit too flat here. Let's see if we can fix that. might have been all right with just the 5 inches after all. It's not bad. Now let's see if we can get the other one to do the same though. I'm not sure I'll be able to. It doesn't always work that way. But let's go ahead and work it here. Oh, that's not where that should have been at. Let's get that out of there as fast as we can here. Because what we want is this to be as close to the center as possible when we go around this loop here. Okay, now this is probably going to have the same problem as the other one just had, and we will just see if we can get that to form just the same. Now see, this one's a lot rounder. Straighten this back up. Now bring this up and in. Now see, as I compare, it doesn't look quite the same. Let's see what's the difference is here. This one is more, I think, curved downwards like this. I see it's going the opposite direction. How did I manage to do that? Now, I didn't like the way I had the first one formed, so I'm going to make a new one here. I did cut the extra off, and as you can see, it lays all right. It's just not what I wanted. I like this one better. So I'm going to see if I can get this second one to do the same thing. 12 gauge wire is not the easiest, unfortunately, to work with because it has a mind of its own. Okay, there's the first loop. Break the neck like so. Bring her in. Now I have to try and remember how I bent this the first time so that it is the same again. I think it was this way, with it being right up here. Then I bent this back on itself like so, and then brought this baby, evened her out right here, brought her around some more like so, so that it would more or less go in the same direction. And as you can see, that's much better, though it's still a little bit off, but it's much closer to the original one. Let's get this baby evened out here some. Looks like we want her just a hair's breadth smaller. So let's bring her onto here again. And we'll bring her around some. There we go. Let's see how she's looking now. About the right size, but I need to even her up again. This one is still a little smaller, I think. This needs to come up in here a little bit. And this needs to round out some. There we go. Much better, though it's still a little off, but not by much. It's down just a hair's breadth. So we will even that out some. Oop. Okay, now we've got it pretty close. So what we're going to do now is we are going to cut that little bit of extra wire off right here. So get our clippers out here, and we'll cut this right there where it comes together on both of them. Now we need to bring this up better, like so. And again with this one. Now as you can see, they're not quite the same. This one still seems to have a slightly bigger loop than the other one. So we will see what we can do about that. This side is, I think, more rounded than this side. So we need to get the little bit of the rounding out of there because we want it to be more oval shaped. Oop, don't want to push that under too much there. See how much closer they are. The one side looks much better, but this side still looks a little too round. But I think we're going to just it looks pretty good to the other. A little bit off still, but not too bad. So we'll clip this teeny weeny little bit of extra wire right here. And push this down here. Not liking this bottom here. It's not very rounded. So let's see if we can get that to go the other direction some. Okay, now it's time to pound on them. So we've got our block out and our hammer. We're just going to sit and pound these till they're flatter. As you can see, it's curling up as I pound it, and that's to be expected. We'll just adjust things after we get it all pounded out here. And try not to pound your fingers. I've done that before. Boy, does it hurt. Just flip it over. Now you will need to try and work that back into shape some after you get it all pounded out. But before we do that, we're going to, after we get these flattened some, we're going to put some texture on it with the other side. But I'm going to get both of them flattened first. Now, are these about flattened the same? Looks like pretty much so. So now we'll take the texturing side, the rounded side, and we will give it some texture here. Now if you wanted to put a different texture than this little round little bangs, you could always use a different texturing hammer. I know they do have many different kinds. I have one with, oh, what does it have? I think it has snowflakes on it, but which of course with something this coming up against something smaller like this, it wouldn't be a snowflake. You'd see it would be just the edges. Okay, I think this one's pretty well textured. You'll notice it brought this one back down, but not this one. So we're going to just put our plier in and pull it around some. So there's the one, the first one. Now we'll texture the second one. hand is getting a little cramped from all this texturing. But we're almost done. I think we're good. So now we just need to get everything back in shape, and as you can see, it put that one back all really close here again, which is great. And then we have to, of course, bring this one down into its proper spot. So there we go. Those two are, looks like this one needs to be turned just a touch right here to make it more where it should be. And really not as much copper came through as I sort of expected to. So there we go, our two pieces of earwire. Now, if you don't like the way these come together right here, because we didn't wrap them at all and they're just a regular simple loop kind of thing, you could always wire wrap this spot right here together. I still don't like the way that this one is more rounded than this one is, and this actually may need a little more flattening and texture here on this bottom spot here, because it is, the other side is thinner. So let's do that. Let's get the hammer back out and flatten this spot right here a bit more. And we'll have to retexture it, of course. And she came apart a bit, so we will straighten that back out. Let's see if that's better. The one still looks a little more rounded than the other, but I think it's good. It'll still be good. So anyway, now you can decide what you're going to do with these. You could hang a dangle down here. You could wire wrap some around here. I am thinking I am going to probably, you know, I said I wasn't going to make these Christmas colors, but I have some really, really pretty little tiny burgundy wire, which I think would be pretty to wrap maybe either some tiny pearls or some tiny crystals around here, and then have one dangle from here. I'm thinking a pearl dangle here at the bottom, and I think that would be pretty. So we'll see what we're going to do here. But I think that's for part 2 of our video here. Okay, there are our little earring connectors that we have made. There's 2 of them here, and actually they're pretty darn close. So 1, 2. So this was part 1 of our video on how to make a wire connector earrings. This is the connector itself. Like I said, I was going to just make something green, and so that they could just be worn with anything rather than just a Christmas pair of earrings. But I'm thinking I am going to either, well, I could use a small gold wire, and then it still could work for Christmas and for any other time of the year as well. as long as I don't use a Christmas piece in them. And I think I may do that. So, part 2, but making these into earrings. We'll see you later. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden.